morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 8 a.m. and you are watching Good Morning, Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. It's Friday. You made it. We made it. We've all made it collectively to the end of the week, and we have a great show and discussion for you today. My guest is Mr. Salvatore Hall, Sammy J,
right.
the founder of SSBL, Sentient Sammy Baseball League.
You got it.
Coach, author, many different things.
Absolutely. Sentient being, first and foremost. That's a fact.
How you feeling?
I'm doing well. I'm just very thankful to be here.
Oh, it's good to see you, man.
Oh, man.
Before we get it going and all
My
that.
brother,
Before we
my
get it
brother.
going and all that. So we will, for the listeners and the viewers and Spotify listeners, real quick, I want to say shout out to everybody tuning in and subscribing to the show on Spotify. It means a lot. Appreciate that. Spotify numbers are going up real strong from 2023 into 2024, so appreciate that. But you are a author, father, husband, many great things. Right. But SSBL is what we're here to talk about today.
Sure.
So let's start off with what is it and how did it begin?
Absolutely. So, again, I'm Coach Sammy or Sentient Sammy, whatever comes up at the time. My thought process is this. Where we live in the Midwest, and we have a climate that's really not the best for high-level baseball, right? It's cold most of the time.
Right.
We have to go inside. So for many years, I grew up playing Little League, travel baseball, high school, college, and had a cup of coffee and independent ball. Right. Now, after working and spending some time in Columbus, Ohio, shout out to the Buckeyes, came back home and started coaching out here in Oswego.
Okay.
So that was before a lot of teams really kind of blew up. There were some paid coaches, people who weren't dads, but it was kind of small. There were some really good organizations that are still really good to this day. But then I got to see as a coach, single, still kind of in that player mode, watch this industry grow.
Right.
And unfortunately, Little League model, right, that existed wasn't broken.
Okay.
The way it was set up eliminated so many problems that we all have to deal with in this industry today because there were set lines, you couldn't stack teams. And unfortunately, at the core of it all, and we all know it, people could say whatever they want, but what sparked this was, you're not going to play my kid? My kids should be playing shortstop. And your kid, I'll go start a team.
Right.
I'll go start a team. Right? So right at the jump of this whole thing, the reason I started this was kind of born. Okay. And it was this, I'm a dad, you're a dad. You would give your last cent for your child. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yep.
People exploit it.
Right.
Sell them a dream. You see this Ohtani getting a $700 million contract, and we're all, running the rat race every day. So you're like, you have hope in your kid. Like, everyone thinks their kid's the best. Like, blah, blah, blah. All right, you could get that kind of money someday. And then it's easy for charlatans to come around and, promise you the world and not really give it to you. So it is a difficult situation. There is a healing that is necessary within youth sports across the board. Baseball is more my specialty, so I speak more to the baseball. And what that is the parents, the coaches, and the kids. People jump teams. Oh, it's this coach, and there's that coach. I don't think it's the people involved. I think it's the system that exists. The kids play in high school, right? You get kids ready when they're young to go play high school, to then go play college, to then go maybe play after college.
Sure.
Those seasons that we're preparing them for are nothing like the seasons that these people, we're all going into debt paying for. For what I mean is, in high school, when you get there, you're expected during your season, in the off season, is to play or practice every single day, 5 days a week, and then you play on the weekends. Right? But their whole life, we are doing this like tournament schedule in travel baseball, where then you don't play all week. You might play in some league that's not even really worth its salt because you don't win anything. You waste pitching, and then you go to a tournament. If you don't play like super well that first day and go, if it's in a round robin type situation or whatever, it's like if you don't go 3-0 or 2-1 in your pool play, you may not play or you play some crap thing. So at the end of the day, these kids at the end of the week play maybe 3 or 4 games. And when you dissect the game itself for the individual from like a time standpoint, if my kid's playing third base and he plays 7 games, his actual like getting better and getting things besides just being a part of the game, I'd say an hour, and that's a very generous
Right.
of
So,
like actual work that he's doing.
so this is an overall problem in youth sports.
Correct.
Okay.
So but I know the intricacies of this baseball side of it, which is why I started the SSBL. So within this system, and it'll bring me back to the beginning, it's like what it started in is a lot of ego, a lot of ways to make money, or that some things weren't going well. And the problem with Little League is if you were on a team, you were kind of locked. There weren't any other options. So if there weren't trained coaches, it could be difficult. But as we come back to this system, now you have a coach, say a dad or a paid coach, knowing that he's in this tournament schedule. And if you don't win a certain amount of games, you don't play. Well, there might be a kid on my team that has been busting his butt, just absolutely busting his butt, showing up early, getting extra lessons, doing all these extra things. But then this other kid who's super arrogant, shows up late, and is a terrible teammate. But guess what? Come Friday, my hands are tied in the system, because if I don't win and I put little Johnny over here in a second, he blows and we go down 6 in the first inning, well, guess what? Nobody plays.
What year did SSBL start?
So it just started this past fall.
Okay.
So, and the reason is because it's like I've done coaching, I've done training. So within this sphere of what I'm talking about is that the system could change so that because parents get mad at coaches for not playing their kids. And then the kids get mad and hear their parents talk. And then it's just this circle where then kids just move and people move, or they just quit baseball overall. My thought is they're not playing enough.
Right.
Okay, so no one's playing enough games. No one's playing enough games in the off season. So what you find out is most of the organizations, unfortunately, and I'm not going to name any names, but because there are some good ones, but most are only worried about their brands,
Right.
their money, and who they are as the people who started the organization.
How long have you been a coach?
It's been a decade plus.
Okay.
And that was my major in school, sports management, sports psychology major. And now within this sphere, the fall. So I created a fall league. Okay?
A fall league?
It was a fall league.
Okay.
Okay. The reason is there has to be a reason why, besides just pure numbers, that kids from the South or the West Coast who play in the warm climate are better every year. There's a reason they are better than the kids in the Midwest in baseball every single year. Because no matter how much you train, no matter how great of a facility that an organization might have, if you don't have ball to glove in game, you'll never make it.
Right.
So kids in the Midwest compare themselves to each other. They compare themselves to the rival high school, the rival situation, but also all those kids play other sports, which is fine. But then we negate the biggest part of the year, which is the fall.
So I wonder, how can people find out about SSBL?
Yep, you follow us. Yeah,
you guys are on
Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, you can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on X. Those are the 2 places that we kind of post most of our situations that we have going on.
Where are you located?
So we go on contract, so we'll come and do some team training. So a little bit of what we did, a little more outside of the philosophy, is we ran at the beginning of the fall, or at the end of the summer, for tryouts. Okay, that's another thing. Travel baseball tryouts start while the season's still going on, because these teams and coaches start poaching kids.
Okay.
Towards the ends of the season. This is a terrible situation that exists, and this is why that most kids don't make it or quit, or people are arguing, and you see umpires quitting, and you see fights going on at games and all this stuff. It's because the adults, aren't. People are taking money from the adults, and then
so
the
it
kids
sounds like one of the things that SSBL does is it provides equal play time, equal ball to glove.
It does.
Is that the term?
It's an opportunity to do things a little bit differently. I'm not teaching you necessarily in our camps. So we ran a pre and post tryout camp.
Okay.
Not just come and learn. We're going to teach you. This is our style of SSBL style of hitting, or this is our style of pitching. It's whatever your style is. You need to own that And if it gives you the results that you have to hone those skills in a sense instead of learning my way. Because listen, the majority of the people that are considered gurus around the area in baseball haven't sniffed an MLB field. Me neither, right? We have to have a humble appreciation for this game of sacred geometry and understanding that these kids' whole world depend on these at-bats, and it has nothing to do with our quote-unquote egos.
Sacred geometry.
Yeah.
Baseball?
Baseball.
Baseball is sacred geometry?
Yeah, just think of it. The diamonds, the shapes, the way the flow of the game goes. There's a lot of poetry to baseball. And that's what's lost. And people don't catch the flow. You know?
No, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. Sacred geometry.
That's what I mean. And so it's like all these things are like glorifying this organization or glorifying this. Like I started this for we'll go back to the camp. Tryouts are scary. People talk smack at those. I wanted these kids that if you came to our camp, you were able to go to your camp. You know what you were going to do. You knew you were going to have to run. You knew the kind of style that it was going to be, and you're going to know how to set yourself apart.
Right.
Because my whole thing with this is like in the Ted Williams mindset. Ted Williams was the last major leaguer to hit 400 in the big leagues. Okay? Now what that means is he was the last person to do something 40% good in baseball. 40%. There's not, when I say that there's like weird flows to baseball, it's the only thing that exists in this human experiment that we glorify 30%. If we pay 30% of our bills, them lights go out.
Right.
In baseball, you get a hit 3 out of 10 times, you're a god.
The time is 8:09 a.m. and you are watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Good morning, Daniel Calderon, Valerie Trainum, Saul Olivas. Good morning to you, and Jen Mendoza. Good morning, happy Friday to y'all. I just had to stop real quick just to holler at them because if you just joined, you probably are wondering to yourself, is it baseball or is it metaphysics?
Hey, it could be. It's all we exist within this vortex.
I mean, are they talking life and death, or is it sports?
Listen, when you and I talk, magic happens. Look where we're sitting. I mean,
Corey Ingram, good morning to you. Well, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna chop up. How you and I. You know what we'll do? We'll do that at the half.
Let's do it.
When we go to the commercial break. When we come out the commercial, we will chop up. We will talk about we will talk about the week Good Morning Aurora started.
Oh man,
the week.
Yep.
The week it started.
That was something. So let me give him what we actually did. So
hold on, we're not going there yet.
Oh no, I mean on the
the baseball. So okay, yeah.
Spit that. So we did a camp, a pre and post tryout camp where we got the kids ready for their actual tryout. Meaning, you weren't just learning our style. It was, how it's going to be ran so that you can start preparing with like visualization. You can start preparing with some mantras. I want kids to have a notebook to write down every single workout that they do because when they feel afraid, all they have to do is go to their bag, pop open that notebook. Look that was this day I took 50 swings. Say, yeah, you know what? This kid's probably didn't do this. I'm going to go get him.
Right.
So we did an actual league where we had teams come play in an awesome new field at Go For It Sports in Yorkville. They could play inside and outside, and they played for 2 months where we had games every Wednesday. Now on Saturdays I had games Wednesdays and Saturdays where it was a 9U team, and then we had an 11U,
right,
which was great. But people, that's where I talk about where people's branding and their money and their stuff takes a lot away from what they try to do. Because I gave a lot of call to people. And I had Midwest organizations say, "Oh, we don't play fall. We don't play fall baseball." Listen, why are you know what I mean? Like how this is it's baseball. It's hard to compete against football, and it's also a lot of schools don't have lights, and I understand that. But we played in the fall, and our weather situation didn't go south till literally the end. And it's like it's the best baseball in the Midwest, like the best weather we have, and they just push it down the wayside. So I am sick of seeing that. I'm sick of these kids like wearing these, paying. I'm hearing every year the costs go up for these teams. Some of these teams are charging $3,000 to $5,000 to $8,000 per year to play on these teams. And what's the offering for the parents, right? The SSBL, when we do our events, I want the parents, the grandparents, maybe the people with disabilities to be taken care of. Like when they come to our games, it's here's where the bathrooms are. Okay, if it's going to be a long distance, we're going to have it where we figure out we'll take some profit, which was little, and we're going to take some of that, and we're going to make sure that there's a walkway so that elderly parents and grandparents don't have to be afraid and come. And it's not just about our pockets.
Here's the thing, though. This is where the conversation gets interesting. I hear you, right? You're a parent. Every parent wants their son to do something on the team, right?
Yeah.
You put your kid in sports, whether it's the touchdown or the game-winning fadeaway jumper, right? So when you don't see your kid getting played, you're like, put my kid in there.
Yep.
But let me ask you, let me come at you a different way with this. You know, there's also that phrase hoop dreams, right?
Yep.
And as people find out many aspects in life, like including the military, like not always, everybody's not gonna get the same amount of play, and people who, you know, and it's football, you're only as good as your last touchdown.
I know.
So is it not part of the experience to maybe not get your shine? Is that something that's just built into? Is that part of the machine?
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the greatest parts of it.
The reason why I bring that up is because I'm like, is it possible to assuage and give a good amount of time to everybody? To me, it seems like it's on the outside looking in. It seems like it's almost impossible given the nature of sports.
Absolutely. And I think it's one of the last vestiges that teaches that within our society. You know, I'm not totally going to be like that macho is like, oh, the participation trophy and da-da-da-da. A lot of people get very like, you know, testy, and that kind of polarizes people in that instance. But you do need to learn that life doesn't have redos.
Right.
And you do need to work, and there needs to be penalties for that. Now, in this baseball sphere, my solution to that is the rules in youth sports have to be different. This is just, I don't know how it is in other sports, but in baseball, there's elite travel plays high school baseball rules. Substitutions, all the rules are equal to the high school. Yet the high school baseball rules are based on the high school season, which is a long season where you play Monday, Wednesday, Friday, double dip Saturday.
Right.
So the substitution rules could work there. Why do they do that in travel baseball? Right? No one's talking about this because they're just trying to grow their programs and like get more trainers and get more teams, and it's taken away from like the kids and parents' experience. So in travel baseball overall, I hope someone hears this who could actually say something, because they just scroll past my stuff and like, because I'm talking motivational stuff, not like buy my stuff or like join my stuff.
You got, no, you got numbers. I see your numbers. You got some numbers. No, they're not scrolling.
Well,
Dora Sanchez Soto, good morning. Shout out McCarty Mills. Sign Gypsies, good morning. Happy Friday to you too. Jimmy Clark, DJ Spanky D, good morning to my brother Curtis. You got it, baby.
So I'm saying is that overall you could have a shift where travel baseball should have its own rules, and simply people are like, well, what is that? So we have a one-off substitution where it's like if I'm coaching and I have a kid that maybe needs to come out, or I want to use him later. If I say we're on a team and I pull you out of the game, you can only go back once, and that kid, then I lose him. So it's like I sit you, I go back and say I sub someone for you. Well, the second I sub that kid out, he's done for the game. So I can't like sub another kid in. So a kid sits, or he goes in to pinch run, or not pinch run, but like goes in for one play.
Sure.
I lose the kid and he sits for the rest. It shouldn't be that way. You could just easily have a 2-in because of the nature of the game. Like you play one weekend. These seasons are Friday. You have a new season every weekend. So it's like Thursday to Sunday is a tournament, and then nothing about that matters into the next weekend. You start a totally new tournament. You see what I'm saying? And then you barely play during the week. So if I sub a kid at the beginning of the game, well, I can't bring him in. I'm handcuffed.
Okay.
The parents get mad at the coach. The kids get mad at the coach. That's the system part of it. So
time is 8:17 a.m. You are listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. That's the system part of it, right?
That is. And it's not that there aren't people with good intentions. It's just they're worried about raising the prices on these things, and like everyone's like getting new facilities and doing all that stuff. Well, no one's doing it right. No one's got a big enough dome where you can play games in. So every trainer like me has to go places and figure it out.
Where are the places that you go to?
There's a few places. I was at ESP in Oswego for a decade plus. I currently work with the JR Stars out of Plainfield, which is an amazing organization. Mm-hmm. And then, and then everybody else, like I help them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't get much shout out back. So
could we come there and film some of the baseball stuff?
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Okay,
I'd love to.
We're gonna put that on the calendar for 2020.
And do some. One of the things that I like to do is like give people stuff. So if we do something like that, it would be more drill stuff. Mm-hmm. Because there's so many kids, and I've worked with a lot of Aurora teams. I coached at Marmion. I was a sophomore head coach at Marmion, and worked with now different teams, the Aurora Stars, North Aurora teams. So many times, especially me, I was one of those kids where you don't necessarily have access to these facilities all the time or the best gear.
Right.
But there is so much mental work, so much thing that you can do just at home, like practicing with a pen, a hairbrush, like getting in front, YouTubing stuff where you put yourself at disadvantage in this travel. Sometimes they'd be like, oh man, my parents couldn't afford to put me on that travel team. If I was just on that travel team, I can make it. It's like, hell no, put the numbers up. You know what I'm saying? Like look at videos, like follow us, follow other people.
Right.
Like see what these dudes are doing and you can get more work done. And I tell this to some of these elite teams. I look at them dead on the face and be like, listen, there are 100 kids grew up from where I grew up that are better than you that will never be able to get on this team. Don't waste the opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, don't waste these opportunities because they're fleeting.
Do you have relationships with different coaches and different heads of the teams?
Oh, yeah, lots of them. That's how we got this league going because I called every organization when I was, like, coming into this is like, look, this can be something. This is a platform, like, for the fall. Like, look, y'all can play, like, and get together and then call time and go out. Be like, hey, coach, like, we messed up that, cutoff. So we should be able to feel comfortable in some sort of competitive play.
True. To
be like, hey, coach, I told this to the teams. We did the national anthem. I'm like, look, they might go out there and give them 5 minutes. It's not just about winning in this fall sphere. Like you got to play hard. Like winning, no one wants to win more than me.
Right.
But let's bring it back to these kids.
Is winning everything, or is it how you play the game?
Time
is 8:20 a.m.
I'm a savage, so. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's only one reason to play. I mean, you could say all that stuff. I think, that how you play the game is a byproduct. Now, I say that in a respect of the answer to that, is it how you play your game, is a byproduct of always trying to win. But you have to always try to win. But you have to respect the game. Back to the sacred geometry.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Back to the flow. You get out of flow. Say you're just like you could if you have a worker or you have somebody like you can exploit them in little ways, but eventually the rooster comes home it comes home to roost and you catch that karma back. So
see, that's what sports to me has always been the kind of the super, like sports has taken many people out of poverty.
Absolutely.
I mean, again, hoop dreams, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, some of the greatest articles, some of the greatest milestones in history, some of the greatest individuals, what they've accomplished through sports.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, it is so exploitative. It really is. So I commend you and SSBL and anybody else who can kind of like keep that twinkle in the eye of young people to not get cynical and things like that, because some of the greatest stories that you also read have injuries.
Yep.
Different things like that.
Absolutely.
People who thought that it was going to be over. And it's led to some pretty bad stories and things like that too. But I mean, not to get too deep with
No. Well, I was going to even get even deeper.
But and we're talking about youth sports and everything like that. But I mean, the same applies to adult sports and everything else.
Well, let's talk about
Major League Baseball, that kind of stuff.
That's what sports. Let's talk about what sports is from a philosophical standpoint.
8/11.
It was a replacement for war. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, there's peacetime. You know what I mean? Like, it used to be the gladiators in ancient Rome. Like, it was the gladiators, and it was, fighting tigers and each other, and they throw the presents in there to fight, like, and they just built more circuses and more bread for the people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now it's like, that's what it's obviously, you know what I mean? But again, see, this is where I have faith in humanity, even though it's easy to not, is just like, either way, we're able to put our spin on it. Like, exactly like you said, the hometown stories, like my guy Tommy DeVito for for the Giants, like, you know what I mean? That's a nice story.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Where you do see someone who's like, nah, you can't make it. You can't make it. Like, you're not good enough, Jordan, getting cut. You know what I mean? Like, or not making, however that story goes, or even how all those things go, where he's like, yeah, because it is. We're all the same, class level, if you will. Like, they separate us through race and money and all these different things. But at the end of the day, there's no special fee for anyone for ComEd. There's no special fee for anyone for the gas company.
Right.
There's no special fee for anybody in that realm. So that being said, yes, how much unity, how much respect that people who look down on people, well, they see their athletic prowess, they get raised up. You know what I mean? Like, they come through and they do amazing things. And it could be lost by the exploitive nature, the ego, the money, the my brand. Look what I've done. I've coached for this long. This is my style, blah, blah, blah. What happens?
Right.
They all fall.
Yeah.
They all fall.
Everybody loses. You know what I'm saying? No matter how, like, we were talking about, like, the brands and stuff like that, but, like, everybody, your favorite boxer has been knocked out.
Out.
So it's
right. I think about that all the time. Like, just someone like Frank Sinatra. It's like, if that was, there wouldn't be an inch of this country that you could walk down and probably, like, people knew who Frank Sinatra was. Now it's like, he wasn't even, I put, like, a post up and I was like, put a hashtag, and it wasn't even, like, it didn't even show up on X. You know what I mean? And it's just, you think, like, that vanity chasing, you know what I mean? Like, all that glitter's not gold, I guess.
The time is 8:25 a.m. You're listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Tracy Duran is here. Good morning, Tracy Duran. Shout out Joe Jackson, executive director of Hesed House, dear friend of the show. We got many great things coming in 2024. I will say this: much work to raise the quality of life for households in Aurora has been done in 2023, and we are confident it will start to bear fruit in 2024. Joe Jackson, shout out to you. Aisha Saxon, good morning to you. Luz Elena Brambila Guerrero, good morning to you as well. Dora Sanchez Soto says, affordability does play a role, and I think there are star players that will make pro and never had the opportunity to be on a travel league. That's true.
Agreed.
That's true. You know who I had on this show? Charles Latshaw III and Heather Bickerton. They are manager and marketing director for the Riverlight Football Club.
Oh, yeah.
Just started to be established in Aurora.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. We got big things coming. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Soccer and Good Morning Aurora, you're about to see it. Listen, here on this show, I got the chance to pick their brain, and we're talking about, they've seen that there's a market for Riverlight here. Been involved with some of the youth in some different places, attending school games or what have you. The interview was dope, and like we talk about, we're just having a human experience right now, right? So when the interview was over, my spirit and soul continued throughout my day. I get home, and I'm hearing a little bit of commotion outside. Like, what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Oh, right. What? So I go look out the blinds, and what do I see in the street? All these neighborhood kids having a soccer bonanza.
Awesome.
Kicking it with the thing over his head, and it flies over here, and here's this guy with the head thing, and then pause, car.
Yeah, game off.
And you know what it said? We manifest in that.
Mm-hmm.
Hoop dreams.
That's right.
I don't know these kids' financial situation, but not all of them had on shoes.
I know.
Yet, the desire to play, I'm here interviewing the people. They see the talent. I'm outside looking at the right?
I know.
It all comes together. It's a beautiful thing.
It really is.
But as we're talking about, though, too, shout out to Sentient and Sammy Baseball League.
Yeah.
Shout out to what you're doing, because that same energy that they had that same light, that same twinkle, should stay a twinkle.
Well,
Shouldn't be extinguished.
Well, and shout out to you because, although myself and that league, have these dreams, but you're attracting that. Like, we're coming to your house to sit here because of the vibes that you're putting out for people. Who would have thought, that a podcast, you know what I mean? Like that and now look what it's manifest in the Buenos Dias or.
You know what? It's time to. You want to start that?
No, I mean, I got so much love for what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just this is what real people do. This is the anti-narrative. This is the truth.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. We like I said, when you cut this, it's red.
Right.
Cut yours, it's red.
Right.
That's it. That's all I need.
So we will. Time is 8:29. Yeah, this is a good time to do it. Okay, so hold on. Nora Peterson, good morning to you, Nora Peterson. Nora Peterson is the Executive Director of Document the Abuse. Learn more about the EAA, the Evidentiary Abuse Affidavit, and how it can assist law enforcement in stopping domestic violence. AJ Paradonis, good morning to you as well. And we said hi to Joe and Dora Sanchez Soto. Shout out McCarty Mills once again. All right, time is 8:29. What we're going to do right now is we're going to go to a commercial, ladies and gentlemen. I want you guys to watch this important message from OnLight Aurora. And then when we come back, we will talk about history of Good Morning Aurora.
Imagine what's possible when a city makes an unprecedented investment, a commitment that reshapes a city's landscape forever, that equalizes economic opportunity, elevates education for all, empowers businesses, inspires collaboration between institutions, improves public services, and enhances the lives of every resident. Now, imagine that city is ours. We know it's possible because other cities have done it. Places like Longmont, Colorado, a community that leveraged its investment in municipal electricity and upgraded its substations to create a 17-mile fiber loop, delivering critical connectivity to the city's institutions, organizations, and small businesses, achieving an incredibly high adoption rate. And in Pharr, Texas, a border town of 80,000, voted the least connected city in America, invested in 700 miles of fiber, delivering broadband managed services that are enriching residents' lives. Cities, towns, and regions are stepping up all over America. There is no question that Aurora can and deserves to be America's next great smart city. But it's up to us. We have a responsibility we can't ignore to see everyone living in our city, regardless of economic status, having broadband services that are simple, efficient, safe, and powerful. Imagine children having safe internet access anywhere, never needing to connect outside of a fast food restaurant. Imagine every building in every neighborhood and retail outlet, new and old, modernized, intuitive, secure. Imagine exciting subscribers with the ultimate broadband experience and giving parents control over all of it. Imagine deploying cyberbullying protection that notifies parents throughout Aurora that their kids are being bullied and providing resources to protect them. Imagine a city with first responders seamlessly connected and with safer public spaces. Can you see this smart city? Can you see our future? We do. Aurora is ready for world-class connection that serves our residents, that helps businesses grow and unifies our community. Let's take this opportunity to give all of our residents, businesses, and community organizations the advantages that come with unrivaled broadband infrastructure and services. Let's come together and deliver a world where digital equity creates a city that is smarter, safer, and sustainable for generations to come.
All right. The time is 8:33. You're listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Maria Chirito, good morning to you. Kim Johnson, good morning. And Teen Impact, good morning to you guys as well. Okay. So let's do this now. Couple things before we go further. This is the part of the show where we told you guys we're going to give you the history of Good Morning Aurora. I am going to tell you. I'm going to take you to the week the show started.
Back in time, man. Where we go, we don't need roads.
The beginning. Where we going, we don't need roads. But before I do that, I'm going to give you a little bit of anecdotal motivation. You guys will know, we recently interviewed Ashley Gokin. Ashley Gokin is the founder of Opalus, and she is the United Nations Association ambassador for the Chicago chapter. Her grandfather was a man by the name of John Gokin. Who was John Gokin? John Gokin created MCI. What did MCI and John Gokin do? To paraphrase, are you ready? Mr. Gokin, he's the late Mr. Gokin. He passed away. May he rest in peace. He's credited with striking the blow that cracked the AT&T monopoly, opening up the telecommunications industry to competition. His reputation as corporate dragon slayer escalated to mega deal maker after he left MCI in 1974. In quick succession, he started several ventures, notably the FTD Mercury Computer Network, which, what's FTD stand for? Trivia question. The person who puts that in the chat before I finish this article, you can come on the show and do the weather. We'll work out the date.
Let's go.
Put that in the chat. First person I see with it, which the FTD Association still uses to do things. I'm not going to give you that because you'll know what it is. And Airphone Incorporated, the company that put telephones on commercial airplanes. Now, do you know that when he told his boss that he was going to make airplane phones so businessmen could talk on the airplane, you know what his boss told him? Why would they need that? Nobody wants to do that.
Right.
Famous last words. Don't let nobody kill your dream.
For real.
Don't let other short-sightedness kill your dream. Imagine that. Why would they need phones on airplanes? Anyway, Mr. Gokin has no use for people with the kind of tunnel vision that stifles imagination and blunts initiative. I can see Orville, quote, I can see Orville and Wilbur Wright going to their lawyer and saying, hey, we want to invent an airplane. Throwing his hands in the air, Mr. Gokin plays the role of lawyer saying, oh, my God, the wing is about to fall off. Stick with bicycles. Amazing. He went head-to-head with GTE, Airphone Oakbrook, founded the company, sold it to GTE Corporation, and Airphone went on to change the world. It went on to change the world.
Right.
And it's that kind of thinking that everybody, I feel, has in them for something. It could be writing a book. It really could be. Everybody has that thing what's in them, or that thing within them to give. It's just, what is it?
Well, one way that I term that is like that little part in you is the same power that creates universes.
Tracy Duran. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. A couple people got that. Daniel Calderon. Not Federal Trade. Tracy Duran, Florist Trans World Delivery. That's right. FTD. FTD Florist. They send flowers worldwide. That's what it is.
Nice.
Tracy Duran, good job. Dora Sanchez Soto says, if it's not, you should still do the weather. No repeaters. All right, Tracy, we'll talk about that date. Now, real quickly. His most important achievement was MCI, which he began in the early 1960s to sell more two-way radios. The company would lead a transformation in the telephone industry, bringing lower-cost, long-distance service to millions of American households and businesses. In 1974, he helped start the process that broke up AT&T, an antitrust suit against AT&T that year, in which MCI was joined by the Justice Department, led to a settlement in which AT&T agreed to break itself apart a decade later. He proved that it was unfair. Hey, I'm a dude. Hey, I'm a guy trying to do something. These AT&T people, some little dude he was at Joliet.
Right.
He's from Joliet.
Right.
That's amazing. Now, here's how Good Morning Aurora started. I know y'all wasn't for that. Why is he talking about? All right. So, for some people already got part of this story, but when Good Morning Aurora started, the format was so basic where I would Zoom Salvatore here while he was driving to work. So here's how it would be. I had an iPhone 5. I still have this phone. Yeah. Or iPhone 4. I'll put the iPhone 4 on the toilet. Right. I would sit on the tub like this. I had my laptop right here. And I would do news for the first 30 minutes. News and just yak it up. And then at 8:30, when Sal left his house and was driving to work,
that's right. That's right.
Then he was my guest. We're gonna tune in with. We're gonna check in with Sal,
that's
and
right.
Sal would chop it up with us about what's going on as he drove to work. Now he had to start at 9 o'clock, so the show had to end at 9 a.m. Even at the beginning, there was no going over, but we would talk to Sal, and Sal would let us know what's going on. And interestingly enough, both of the roles and lives that we were living at that time, we don't live anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We don't live anymore. Salvatore has gone on to do well. We were interviewing him now.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, we always were, but like Salvatore is an author. He's done amazing things ever since then, and it means a lot because when the book of Good Morning Aurora is written, Salvatore is in the first week of the book. He's been here ever since. And it means a lot because he's the person I kicked the football to. He's the guy I was throwing the ball to, like, you know what? Let's what could it look like, right?
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. It was when we were in that role, it was the start of the pandemic. Everything had started, and was doing sales and marketing there, and there was all the little get-togethers that everyone enjoys. Remember that? Like those business get-togethers. You go somewhere and go.
Right.
And we started talking on the Zoom, and then and look what has blossomed. But see, it doesn't matter. It's already to this point. Look at this beautiful thing. This right here, this beautiful, is a manifestation of true unity, of opposite. Like if you look pretty much out there, they would say that this wouldn't be a conversation that people would be having, but we're having that conversation. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's very true. And the other thing about it too that you and I knew, because if you remember, so for full transparency, the pandemic was going on, and you were working for a senior living facility.
That's right.
And you were doing marketing for this senior living facility. And I was working with veterans and seniors at the time. I still do.
Yeah.
But even more exclusively then. And what happened was like you just DM'd us on Instagram, and we were trying to figure out a way to do something that was going to help people during the pandemic, and maybe work with the city later on. Like start something good. Now, at the same time, though, it does help a lot to live in a city where you can try. And I talked about this with Bill Foster.
Yeah.
It helps to work in a city where like you can use things and help get the message out when you're trying to help people. It's what it's all about. You should not be stifled if you're trying to do something good.
I know.
Right?
I know.
What's the old saying? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I know.
Shit. Like you should people should try to do whatever they can to help something good out.
I know.
And that's why Good Morning Aurora has never changed. It has never, right? That's what it's all about. It's not about
Voice
me.
of the voiceless.
It's about you. It's about people. It's about everybody.
Well, and I think the main goal is although we're talking about accomplishments of ours, like we're that reminder right now to look in yourself and realize you have the power that creates universes like inside of you. So us talking about these things and getting the conversation, all it is a reminder of what you have, your sentience, hence the name of what I started, and that you literally are good enough. You literally can do the dream. You could made the worst mistake yesterday and tomorrow would be the best. This next moment be the best, because we, for whatever reason, we have this gift of to choose our thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Like I do this with some of the players where I tell them, like, close your eyes, take a deep breath and close your eyes and think of the color red. Everyone's like, okay, I see the color red. And then I'm like, think of the color blue. And then they think of the color blue. I'm like, how quick did you change that thought? You didn't even think about it. You didn't have an emotional connection to the red. You didn't be like, oh my God, if I don't think about this red,
right.
like I'm not cut. Right? You just let it go and went to blue.
Right.
That has to be a muscle, just like everything else we have, every muscle in our body. So we don't go in denial about things we have to do, but we take the foot off the accelerator of that.
Right.
You're not good enough. Like, you made those mistakes. Like, you did the wrong thing, whether it's drinking, whatever it is, not working out, eating poorly. Like, it doesn't matter. It can literally be in the next moment, back on, off the wagon, whatever you want to call it. Like, that's the deal. Like, and we have to live, I feel like, a life of a constant example of that, even in my own faults and my shortcomings. Like, but I have to always remember when I want to go, like, okay, you're going to say those things, you're going to write those words, you're going to have these things, like, that has to be in every moment, in every interaction. And when it's wrong and you don't do it right, there's a forgiveness, deal with it, and move on.
Right.
And that's how we can continue, like we're sitting in freaking City Hall right now.
Time is 8:45 a.m. You're listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. San Diego, California, checking in. Good morning.
Oh, hey. Send some weather.
Shout out San Diego, California. Up having a wonderful breakfast, probably of fig leaves and roasted grass to our friends. That's there. Kurt Worster, good morning to you as well. And yeah, Tracy Duran's gonna come on and do the weather. She won the little contest that we just did. So real quick, actually, the time is 8:45 a.m. This is going to be the last regularly scheduled Good Morning Aurora show for 2023. Going into next week, we're going to have a mixture of content and also on the scene live weather and interviews. So Good Morning Aurora will return here to City Hall and ACTV specifically next year in 2024 first week. Now listen to this. I got something else to tell you guys. Next week, we're going to interview two people who all of you know and love. I'm not going to give you any hints, but let me say this. It'll be a great show for the kids. Gotta tell you that. Time is 8:46.
Oh, man.
Okay, what did we not... Did we forget anything? What did we... Okay, we talked about... Oh, no, let's shout out the book, 24 Rungs.
Oh, yeah.
24 Rungs. Talk about... Because you're an author, too, amongst many things.
That's
Coach,
true.
father, author.
It's true.
Talk about the book.
Yeah, so... it's on Amazon, and I have an audio book.
That's
which
right.
I love. Made it here in Aurora.
The audio book.
Yeah, made it in Aurora during the pandemic. Gremlin Studio, shout out.
Shout out Gremlin.
So it's 24 Rungs, an ASMR journey to recovery. What that book is, it's a book of quote-unquote poems. Now, we all have our vices. We all have the secret things that we do to get by that nobody knows about or we think nobody knows about. And that's fine, and we all need that. But sometimes those things get out of whack and we lose some balance. Sometimes they, call it whatever it is. Sometimes it's alcohol. It could be a drug. It could be tobacco, whatever it might be.
Sure.
We sometimes just need maybe buoys or like something to kind of draw us back in if we've gone too far. Because the problem is like sometimes people don't want to admit they might need some help in those ways because it's, especially men. I mean, it's like, you can't. It's hard. You're in charge of protecting your wife and your kids and be a provider. But like man, I'm hurt from youth, or like I have some really bad trauma. I can't talk to my friends. They're gonna think I'm soft. Like I can't talk. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, what do you do? And then maybe like our prayer muscles or our meditation muscles are super weak, and we've just for so many years, the accomplishment gas tank is so low that we can't think to conquer something as big as eating better, working out, not drinking, because we haven't accomplished crap in a long time.
Sure.
So I wrote this book with 24 rungs and like on a ladder, and they're just poems that, you know, kind of go through a process that can be something very simple to give you an accomplishment. Same thing with the audiobook. Like you listen to garbage all the time. It's like I created the audiobook with a certain megahertz level and certain sounds based on some science of like binaural beats and things like that to give you a tactile feeling when you listen to it. So it's like it could be that one thing that doesn't totally relapse you. Like you might need to go for something like, okay, well you can turn that on and then hear some of the sounds the way the megahertz is, and you feel a chill or like an ASMR feeling of like, you know, like the sound when the rain hitting, or like you get that good chill feeling. Maybe that's enough at times to put the cig down, to not go to the bar, to not, you know, go use or whatever the case may be, or just to not look at something that you're not supposed to. Because let's be honest, one of the things that no one wants to talk about that's the hardest thing that's hurting men is, you know, pornography. You know, like, and we don't want to talk about that because it's hard, and it's like, it's changed so much since we were kids. It's like you had to go sneak and find, and it's like now you can sneeze on your phone and something dirty comes up. And it's like, that's a struggle that takes our focus away from our quote unquote manly duties or womanly duties. It's not just, you know, a gender specific, you know, people of all genders, I'm sure struggle with those things. And
I wonder too, well, as we talked about when the commercial was playing and folks didn't get to, hear that part too. I wonder if there is a way. I'm sure there's got to be. I wonder if there is a way that we can do the very best we can to provide like a wraparound, holistic kind of wellness check that's good for both men and women. Because we know that, for example, suicide affects everybody. The vices, right? Men and women can overdrink or whatever. But I think sometimes that I think that society has been so run for a long time that issues are seen to be more, that's a woman's issue and that's a man's issue. Which with the exception of certain health aspects, I don't really think that's true. So I think that there's got to be a way that we can either provide or help bring highlight to or advocate like a more holistic wellness kind of thing.
Well, I think we could definitely talk about something almost like a little segment once a month or something, like but from like a right now standpoint, like for the people who are watching right now, I think the conversation, even like us saying that pornography, drinking, and things like that brings legitimacy to everyone's plight,
right? Because
no one talks about it,
right?
So now you hear me say it, and then it's like in your own life you'd be like, oh yeah, it is. I could turn that off. I could today not look at that. I could today not do that. Yeah, those cats were talking about it. They weren't afraid to say that it's a struggle. They weren't afraid to say that, you know what I mean, that like we all know that there's so many things plaguing us,
right,
to keep us from living out our full potential.
Right.
I mean, how many times, people today are going to sit at work and be like, what am I doing here? Like, what am I really doing what I was set out to do here?
Right.
And that's not saying you quit today, but that's also saying like, go inside. You might find what it is, because it's not like we're sitting here living the millionaire's life. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're grinding, trying to take care of everything and inspire, because by inspiring those, we inspire each other, because we are all one.
Right.
There's no way you can't tell me that we're all not connected.
Right.
There's nothing that'll disprove that.
Times 8:52. Enjoy the rest of your day and weekend. Love, peace, and happiness. That's Daniel Calderon. Big dog. Appreciate that.
Thanks.
Hope that you have a fantastic rest of the day. He always leaves it around this time. I think the brother's going to work. See?
Get it, man. Thanks for.
That's
I like that. Do it.
I like that. You know.
Get your stop.
So we took it there in this episode, and I do think I'm really proud to interview you going into 2024, man. I really am. I'm glad to see what you started, man. So it's really inspiring. So congratulations to you, man. You've come a long way.
Wow.
You've come a long way, man. Like you've really you've been kicking butt and taking names for the whole time I've known you, man. And thanks very much for all the support, man. Thank you, because you've been a real good friend.
Wow.
So I appreciate it, man.
I consider you family, and
You've been a good friend, bro.
I consider you family, and it takes one to know one, and that's why we instantly connected. I think the first time we talked.
Yep.
The first time we talked, like, I just knew. You just know. You call it your soul family or your soul people. There was probably a time before this.
Yep.
We probably high-fived just like that up top
Yeah.
before we came down and said, all right, man,
Right.
I'll catch you when we get down there. And, the thing that I'll leave this on is that when you start to do this, there will be a lot of things that continue to test you, to push you down. For whatever reason, call it the matrix, call it whatever you want. When you make that decision to go after what you want, you will be hit with immense, haters. That's why the word haters exists and things like that. People will see that your shine, and realize they're not shining as bright. So they'll try to dim you. And it's like, you look at Curtis and myself, two guys that want to make his light shine more. He wants my light to shine more. We want everyone to see this to shine brighter today. You are the light. You are the reason we are here. You're the salt of the earth. You look at each other as that same way. We could take this country, this world, to new heights that never before seen.
Yeah,
like
we
when
really
they
could.
discovered fire. What's out there that we haven't discovered yet?
Yeah, we really can, man. And for the listeners and the viewers, man, I'm confident that you guys all know and understand that wherever you listen to this show at, that's what it's been about for 3 years, and that's not going to change. It's not about me. It's about you. It's about you. The content will not change. That's what, we don't do hip hop news and Jay-Z and Beyonce. And, like, how's your blood pressure?
Right.
Right. Can you pay your bill on time? Like,
Right.
there's far more things of importance to worry about, which are gonna shape and define our lives as individuals that are really serious. And we need to start talking about those issues, and Good Morning Aurora will always be here to do that for you. And not only that, we'll always be here to show you what everybody else is doing, all the great things that are happening in this city, which a lot of people don't know about, those unspoken voices, those unspoken things. Next week we got 2 interviews next week that I guarantee nobody ever saw it before, ever.
Awesome.
Nobody ever saw what we will show them next week.
Paradigm shifters, baby.
Nobody ever saw that. Dora Sanchez Soto says, love the show. John Zagul, Tom King, two of the great team here at ACTV in the city of Aurora. You know what? The time is 8:56. Let's do that.
Huh.
Let's do shout outs the whole way out.
Let's go.
Are you cool with that?
Let's do it.
All right, you start.
That's
start.
Just,
you take 3. Give me 3.
Shout outs to people.
And we'll shout them out. We'll shout them out because I want to shout out the fans and the viewers of SSBL.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sentient, Sammy Baseball League, all the young people who are involved, all the parents and fellow coaches.
That's
so
right.
you take 3, and then you give me 3, and then we'll do that all the way out.
Just some people to give some shouts out to.
Whoever you want, baby.
Yeah,
Whoever
absolutely.
you want.
Yeah, I give a lot of credit to many of the coaches and trainers that I've had before. John Haley, who I interviewed for the show.
Yes, old school.
Yeah,
That was
back in the day. We have to go back to some of those Wellness Wednesdays. We had some Wellness Wednesdays.
Wellness Wednesdays.
Yeah,
we started that.
That's right. Thurman Hendricks is another trainer that I had that was amazing. Shout out to the JR Stars and so many organizations that came out. The Naperville Renegades were amazing this fall. Yorkville Reds were helpful as well. And again, I'll kick it back to you. All I can say is that envy is the enemy. Okay? We too often in our social circles and on these teams, we're comparing ourselves to these other kids and then to the parents, and you see the tension build. It's like, build a community, and we will take this country and this world to new heights.
Word up. I'm going to give shout-outs right now. I want to say shout-out to Alvin Soto, Dora Soto, Devin Soto, and every member of the Soto family. I'm a bundle that into one. Okay, it's a lot of them in there. I'm gonna put that. That's the package deal.
Do it. Take them all.
So I'll do that. Then I'm also gonna say a shout out to Patrick and Mark Hogan, owner, father and son of the of Tavern on Broadway, right downtown. And then I'm also gonna say a very big shout out to our dear friends on the Aurora Public Library board. So shout out to the Aurora Public Library board. Okay, it's 8:58. We still got time to do this.
Who made this beautiful?
Shout out to my mom. Shout out to coaches, social study teachers, and maintenance engineers. Shout out. Yep.
Yeah. Who made this beautiful?
Sisters Party Decor, Gloria and Alondra Penaloza.
Look at that.
Shout
That is really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I think this next year, I mean, this is a crucial year.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the year where I think it's, you either make it or you don't. I think it's time to.
I don't know about.
Well, I mean,
you gonna make it.
I mean, I think it's not if you make it or you don't.
Sometimes
but
it takes. Well,
it does. But I'm
feel
saying
that. I feel that.
What you have going on, like it's time to like.
I feel it.
It's time to not sit on our hands.
True.
Like better put. It's not that you make it or you don't. It's just time to not sit on our hands.
True, because
like,
and you know where I came with the opposition.
No, I know.
It was, because what, Samuel L. Jackson was like 50.
I know. That's what I mean.
Before
but this
the
is
one
the year.
miscellaneous movie he did blew up. So like, yeah, sometimes and because people want results fast these days. People want things fast, and good things take time, man. It doesn't happen like that, and a lot of people who start something, they think like, okay, now when do I get on Shark Tank?
I know.
Like now when does Jay-Z sign me? It's like, baby. Like
Your example right here.
If you're not ready for failure, you're never going to know what success looks like, man.
Look at this. Just this right here, when it was just the iPhone 5 and it was like discussing what it's going to be. And it's like, just keep pressing content. Just keep pressing content.
Yep.
Keep pressing content. And where are we sitting?
And now Tracy Duran won the weather contest. And one of our very first listeners will be doing the weather someday. We'll keep.
Let's do it.
Let you know about the date, Tracy.
That's awesome.
All right. The time is 9 a.m. Well, I think before we do this and wrap it all the way up, thank you again.
Oh, brother. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Always.
We will check in with you in 2024, but we'll see you before that. You know what I'm saying? So we will definitely chop that up. But for the listeners and the viewers, thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you for all the support you've given us this year. And again, Good Morning Aurora's ending this year on a great note and going into 2024 with an equally positive note. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And once again, this is the last regularly scheduled Good Morning Aurora program on ACTV for this year. We will give you guys a whole lot of awesome content next week, a lot of things to see, and it's also going to be Christmas break. So this is the time right now, you guys, to really reconnect, take a minute, calm down, see what's good about life, and prepare yourselves mentally, emotionally, and physically to go into a brand new year. Good Morning Aurora will return to you guys. We'll see you next week, but we'll return with our regularly scheduled program, which I think will be Buenos Dias Aurora will be the very first show to bring us back on the regular program next year, which I believe the 2nd of January is a Tuesday. So as we always tell you, be blessed, take care of yourself and each other.
Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.